Continuing from the previous episode 295. On the soul jade at this time, there are fluctuations that the four tigers are not weak. If you look closely, you will find that there are four energies of different colors flowing slowly on the palm-sized soul jade. Among them, there is a soul power that is slowly emitting a more dazzling light than other soul powers. This is Kaylin's soul power. Xiao Yan also recognized the source of this power at a glance. When he entered the mysterious passage and came to the duty continent, Xiao Yan let Zuner, Kaylin and Jiyu Yenjukin stay behind. A trace of soul power is placed on it, so as to disperse the search. At this time, Kaylin's soul actually glowed on the soul jade, which means that Kaylin is very close to Xiao Yan himself. Color scales. Where are you? Xiao Yan also shouted out of control. Calm down. The Golden Dragon King also supported Xiao Yan, and then injected pure power into Xiao Yan's body, which stabilized Xiao Yan's excited emotions. I know you want to find other people who came to this continent with you and scattered, but you are not in a hurry. The Golden Dragon King also comforted. I'm sorry, Shizu, I lost my way. Xiao Yan calmed down and said solemnly. Obviously, Kaylin's soul power fluctuates violently, which is enough to show that Kaylin is very close to Xiao Yan. Kai Lin must be in Xuanxin Santian. Xiao Yan also came back to his senses, then stared at the soul jade in his hand and said slowly. At the same time, in the distant Xuanxin desert, a rather majestic hall also appeared in the depths of the desert. Outside the main hall, an enchanting woman with 9 colors on her body was slowly staring at the main hall. If Xiao Yan is here, then Xiao Yan can recognize it at a glance. This woman suddenly went to the color scales scattered from the space channel. The snake people on the Btth continent are really troublesome. Kai Lin also moved her lips slightly and said a few words. There's actually a familiar feeling. Kai Lin seemed to have discovered something, and immediately held the accept ring in his hand. At the same time, a soul jade that was identical to Xiao Yan's palm also appeared in Kaylin's hand. This is Xiao Yan. Are you in Xuanxin Santian? The first time Kaylin saw the soul jade, she found that the soul power belonging to Xiao Yan was exuding extremely dazzling fluctuations. Immediately, it turned into a stream of tender eyes, looking into the distance. After all, Xiao Yan is also her husband anyway, and the birth of Xiao also made this Medusa, who is famous in the Btth continent, become a bit like a mother. This kind of fluctuation can only appear when the two are close. Xinya 81 Zhang Huiyan Wang Yu, Kai 8. Approximately 1 ZS, Koem, my lady queen, it's time. Just when Kaylin's eyes softened, a woman with curly hair like a little snake appeared slowly, and said respectfully to Kaylin. Well, let's go. Kaylin's eyes instantly became deep, and then he stepped into the main hall. My lady queen, let's go in by yourself. This temple has extremely tyrannical restrictions. We can't enter without the most excellent blood power of the Medusa family. The woman also said, how's the situation between the Xuanling royal family and New Dong? Kaylin asked with her beautiful eyes slightly wrinkled. The Xuanling royal family's attack on our snake people is more intense than before, presumably because the arrival of her lady queen has made them feel unprecedented pressure. If her lady queen can obtain the supreme power of the Medusa family, then the Xuanling royal family and Furious Winter are not worth mentioning. As for New Dong, we are already hoarding troops. After all, New Dong's blood power is not as honest as Lady Queen, so I feel the crisis. The woman continued. Understood. You go down. During my retreat, all of our snake people were left to you to take care of. Wait for me to go out. Kai Lin also said to the woman in front of her. I wish the queen success. The woman also slowly stepped back after speaking, but her figure was like a ghost, very mysterious. Xiao Yan, your life belongs to this king. You can't have an accident without my permission. When I get out of the customs, I will look for you. Kai Lin also smiled slightly, and then stepped into the hall without any hesitation. Boom boom boom. When Kaylin raised her slender hand, the indestructible stone gate opened slowly, and Kaylin turned into a beam of light and entered instantly. As soon as I entered the stone gate, I found that there are many snakes and scorpions in the stone gate, but fortunately, the color of the color scales is bright, and these little shrimps are also very interesting, and walked away. Is this the ancestor of our Medusa family? Kai Lin couldn't hide her surprise when she looked at the behemoth in front of her. Because the space inside the stone gate is very large, but the most striking thing is the stone statue standing in the center. The stone statue is about tens of meters high, and the hair is separated in the shape of a snake and scorpion. Even if it is a stone statue, Kaylin can feel the terrifying power of this stone statue. Does the secrets of the Medusa family exist in this stone statue? Kai Lin also looked at the stone statue a little, and after finding no result, he sat down with his legs crossed, with 9 colored light constantly floating around his body. At the moment when the 9 colored rays of light appeared on Kaylin's body, the pupil of the stone statue, which was as calm as dead gray, unexpectedly exuded a hot wave, and then inhaled Kaylin into it. Damn it! Seeing this, Kaylin also hurriedly transferred the vindictive energy in her body, trying to resist the suction, but what confuses Kaylin is that the suction has some original power. The blood in the source and Kaylin's own body is also quite the same. After some struggles to no avail, Kaylin was also sucked into the stone statue, and the entire stone statue recovered calm. What? That woman actually entered the temple? Deep in the desert, in a place, a burly man also said viciously. That woman with 9 colored rays of light entered the temple. A subordinate beside her said respectfully, "Damn woman, it's bad for me. Contact Solomon and the Xuanling royal family as soon as possible." I agreed to the conditions they offered. As long as I can become the king of this desert, nothing else matters. Nudong said with a very painful tone. After all, even if the Xuanling royal family and Solomon were willing to help him deal with the 9-colored woman, they would not pay any attention to it. The condition is undoubtedly the lion's mouth wide open. If it wasn't for his inability to do anything linked to www.novelmtl.com, he wouldn't have asked for help from the Xuanling royal family and Solomon. After all, the Snake people and the Xuanling royal family had deep grievances. King, the conditions we offered are a bit too big. If that's the case, will the Medusa clan's Nudong agree? A middle-aged man dressed in quite expensive clothes said to King Xuanling. Don't worry. Nudong is also anxious to deal with their Medusa clan now. This person has great ambitions, so you can watch it. King Xuanling also smiled slowly. Also, go on, order. A woman with a 9-colored sky-swallowing python appeared in the Medusa family. Find this person at all costs. King Xuanling's oppressive voice also spread throughout the rather gorgeous room. Nudong. Don't think I don't know your tricks. This 9-colored swallowing python is very useful to us. How could it be given to you so easily? Once you accept this deal, then it's almost time for your Medusa clan to get rid of this desert. King Xuanling laughed, and his smile was extremely hideous. This time my human palace seems to be developed. A Medusa family, a fire elf and a high-level alchemist. But there seems to be something on that woman, Mu Yingying, that even I can't see through. Inside the Fenxiang pavilion, Mu Shuji also looked at Wu Juju slowly. Ask for tickets. End of this chapter. Continuing from the previous episode 296. The night passed quickly, and the 5 of them all fell asleep one after another. After all, the tiring journey along the way also made them fall asleep quickly. After the first ray of sunlight shone on Wujuju in the morning, people from the 5 wooden houses came out one after another. After all, according to what Mu Shuji said, today is about to start cultivating, so several people are looking forward to it, and they are also quite curious about the cultivation method of this super sect. This incense pavilion can stand for thousands of years, and it also has its own independent cultivation method. Hey, what do you think is the difference between the cultivation in the burning incense pavilion and other places? I heard that this burning incense pavilion is undoubtedly a treasure for fire-type fighting spirits. It's not just because of Huishan, but it seems that there are some peculiar things in the burning incense pavilion. Mu Feng grumbled early in the morning. Ji Zaza kept talking, and the 4 of them knew Mu Feng's character, so they didn't interfere much. Uncle Mu is here. Xiao Yi also noticed Mu Zuzi's arrival and said, "Are you used to it last night?" Mu Shuji said in a soft voice. Yeah. The 5 of them responded together, obviously curious about this first practice. Xinya 81 Zhang Wei and Wang U. Kai 8.1 ZS, Koem, in that case. Then let's go and start your first practice. Mu Shuji also said slowly. After Mu Shuji finished speaking, he also walked up first, and then Xiao Yan and the others looked at each other in dismay, and then followed up with Mu Shuji. My incense burning pavilion is about cultivating to keep fit and eliminating harm for the people. The outer cabinet is a collection of hundreds of books, specializing in cultivating students who are knowledgeable and reasonable, and our cabinet, the three halls of heaven, earth and people, is to cultivate strong people to eliminate harm for the people. The entrance to the ghost world is also not far from our burning incense pavilion, so in addition to cultivating in the mountains, you will need to go to experience it after a while. First, it is to improve yourself. Only the real battle is the fastest. Second, the entrance to the ghost world has been very uneven recently, and since he is the most disciple of the burning incense pavilion, it is the responsibility of him to go to get rid of the ghosts. Mu Shuji also said slowly. To get rid of ghosts. I'm good at this. Mu Feng also said with a grin. Also, the cultivation resources of our human temple are not evenly distributed. It all depends on strength. The stronger your strength and the higher your talent, the more training resources you will get, but the opposite is true. As for private duels, as long as we don't die, we don't care, and we also encourage such duels. Mu Shuji also spoke slowly to the people behind him. Sure enough, Xiao Yan also smiled and didn't care anymore. After all, the reason why the burning incense pavilion could stand in Zan Santian and become a super sect, in addition to the background it should have, is also related to this. The management system of the sect is inseparable. Mu Zuzi's words are obviously telling them that there is no free lunch in the world, and they must not relax their vigilance just because they joined the burning incense pavilion. After all, if they don't work hard, they will be surpassed at any time. Talent is of course important, but what Xiao Yan has learned from his hard work and sweat is something that Xiao Yan understood when he was in Doqi continent. The others were silent as well, but Xiao Yi didn't take it seriously. After all, Xiao Yi's identity as a fire elf is quite special, and she doesn't need these trainings. As long as she keeps giving fire attribute vindictiveness, she can continue to break through and strengthen herself. Strength. It's here, let's go in. Mu Shuji came to the outside of a large hall, and then smiled slowly. Let's go, Xiao Yan also said to the people around him. Then, without any hesitation, he walked towards the closed hall. He raised his hands gently and touched the door of the main hall. With 3 booms, the door of the main hall slowly opened. Hey, Uncle Mu, let us wait. A hearty laughter also came from behind the gate. Haha, no rush. Mu Shuji also smiled slowly. As Xiao Yan and the others stepped in, they also found that there was a lot of space in this hall, and it lay flat. The most dazzling thing was a magical door of light in the hall. And found that the door of light in the hall seemed to lead to the entrance somewhere. There are so many disciples in the hall of people. Xiao Yan turned around and found that the number of people in the hall at this time had reached hundreds of people, and the fluctuations in their bodies were without exception. Are stronger than themselves. Some have even entered the level of a 5-star fighting emperor. Moreover, the most important thing is that Xiao Yan, relying on his powerful soul power, felt that the hundreds of disciples in this hall were looking at the 5 of them with fiery eyes, as if there was something quite tempting in them. Exist. These aren't the disciples of my human hall. The disciples of my human hall have now gone out to practice and eliminate ghosts at the entrance of the ghost world. As for these, it's a named disciple who wants to join my human palace. Mu Shuji also said slowly. Registered disciple? Xiao Yan is also surprised. Many super sects actually recruit some talented and powerful people as outer disciples or named disciples. When they make a certain contribution to the sect, they can become real disciples. Disciple. To become a true disciple is to be eligible to enjoy many benefits of the sect, such as training resources or the guidance of some strong people. After all, a person is on the decline, but joining a sect is different. Even if others want to touch link to you www.novelmtl.com they will also consider the energy of their sect. After all, many sects are extremely protective, especially this is regarded as a burning incense pavilion, and it is not enough to protect the disciples of its sect. Haha, it looks like your kid understands what I mean. Then let's start. The reward for you to join the temple of my people is in this gate of light, but if you want to get it smoothly, it still needs a lot of difficulty. Mu Shuji also said slowly. It's really interesting. Xiao Yan also laughed slowly, and then stared at the hundreds of people in front of him, his eyes becoming even hotter. It just so happened that since he broke through the 4-star Do Emperor, the spiritual power of the Do Formation Master was enough to condense 5,000 core inscriptions, and he also had the power to fight against the powerhouse of the 5-star Do Emperor, At this time, in the sky above the main hall, a sleepy old man also slowly opened his eyes, and then looked slightly above the ground of the main hall. How can there be a wave of spiritual power on this kid with a giant ruler? After speaking, he turned his attention to Xiao Yan. It seems that the newcomers this time also have some hard bones. The surrounding registered disciples looked at Xiao Yan and found that although Xiao Yan's strength was only in the middle stage of the 4-star Do Emperor, he exuded a lot of energy from him. The fluctuations made many of them excited. The people around Xiao Yan also seemed to understand what was going on, and their eyes sank immediately. Ask for tickets. 5 more today. End of this chapter. Continuing from the previous episode 297. Is it difficult for the 5 of us to deal with these hundreds of people? Green Flute also said somewhat incredulously. Of the 5 of them, Xiao Yi's real strength is that of a 7-star Do Emperor, but through Xiao Yan's special technique, Xiao Yi's strength was suppressed to the level of a 4-star Do Emperor. On the one hand, in order not to attract the attention of others, the aspect is also to hide the identity of the little Ina fire elf. Others, Ludi himself is a late-stage 4-star fighting emperor. Mu Yingying is a 4-star fighting emperor's perfect strength. As for Mu Feng, it is strange to say that his strength has been slowly improving. Since the Infernal Corpse Forest came out, Mu Feng's strength has also been abruptly raised from the early stage of the 4-star Do Emperor to the late stage of the 4-star Do Emperor. With the rapid increase in strength, even Xiao Yan was quite ashamed. This makes Xiao Yan quite strange, but according to his master Jinlong King, the reason why Mu Feng's strength has increased so quickly is very similar to Xiao Yan himself, that is, absorbing power. He absorbed the power that did not belong to him, and then transformed it into his own power through a special method, so the increase in power made Xiao Yan quite ashamed. Master, Mu Feng's strength has increased a little quickly. Xiao Yan was also surprised and asked slowly in his heart. After all, Xiao Yan has never heard that strength can increase so quickly, even in adversity. Poison also does not have such a terrifying speed. You don't know about this. The Fenju in your body can continuously improve the level of Fenju and your own strength by devouring the power of the different fire or the fire between heaven and earth. And the yin and yang gossip exercises in Mu Feng's body are not as valuable as your Fenju, but they should not be underestimated. When I was in the corpse forest, I discovered that there are some strange things on Mu Feng's body, and now it seems to be correct. The yin and yang gossip exercises on his body should be similar to yours, Fenju. You can absorb the huge flame energy to quickly improve your strength. Then this Mu Feng can also absorb the ghost energy in the ghost world to improve your strength. The voice of the Golden Dragon King also slowly appeared in Xiao Yan's heart. This yin-yang gossip technique is really terrifying. Xiao Yan was cultivating Fenju. Naturally, he knew the power of this technique, but behind the power, he had to endure more pain. And now, the yin-yang bagua cultivation technique on Mu Feng has similar effects to Xiao Yan's burning Ju. How can this make Xiao Yan not shocked? Okay, don't take the initiative to contact me recently. There are some quite powerful hidden auras in the burning incense pavilion. If they detect it, it will be more than the loss. After all, we haven't found the holy flame yet. The Golden Dragon King finished speaking, and there was no voice. Uncle, I don't know how to conduct this kind of competition. Xiao Yan also respectfully asked Mu Shuji. Hearing this, Mu Shuji also raised his hand helplessly, obviously ignoring Xiao Yan and the others' inquiry. Everything had to rely on them. It's easy. Which one of you will come first? Fight until one side admits defeat. The man in the hall said slowly. Don't think that we don't know about the battle of your wheel. We are not fooled. Mu Yingying also recovered her quirky personality after yesterday's rest, so she also said to the people in front of her. Then what do you guys think? The man was also a little embarrassed. After all, the 5 people in front of him were the proud ones who joined the Fenxiang Pavilion this year. Those who are qualified to join the Burning Incense Pavilion will definitely not be ordinary people. After the selection of the points plundering competition, since they can stand here, they must have something extraordinary, so these named disciples are not stupid, and they plan to use the tactics of wheel battles. Even if they have the ability to reach the sky, when the fighting chi in the body is exhausted, there will only be one end. It's just that what these new disciples didn't expect was that these people didn't play cards according to the routine. What a beautiful woman. Many named disciples also looked at Mu Yingying with hot eyes. A man's favorite things are, after all, beauty, money and status. Cough cough cough. Don't forget the business. Seeing that some people were attracted by Mu Yingying, there were many named disciples who raised their voices deliberately. Then what do you want to do? Among the named disciples, a man in plain clothes also said slowly to Xiao Yan. Why don't we all go together? Xiao Yan also looked at the hundreds of people, and immediately said. With his outstanding soul power, Xiao Yan also discovered that the man in plain clothes in front of him should be the most terrifying of these named disciples. If Xiao Yan feels right, there are 128 people in total. Among them, there are 3 powerful people who have completed 4-star Do D, and the man in simple clothes just now is one of them. The remaining 4-star Do D has 20 people. There are so many people, and the others are basically the strength of the late 4-star Do D. Xinya 81 Zhang Wei and Wang Wu. Kai 8.1 ZS. Koem, go together? Are you sure? As Xiao Yan's voice just fell, the 128 named disciples suddenly exploded. Is this person mentally ill? Actually let us go together. We have 128 people here, but there are only 5 of them. It's too much to take us seriously. There was a constant voice among the named disciples. Li Ji, what should we do? This is a hard-won opportunity. For this opportunity, we have not done less work for Fenxiang Pavilion in the past. A named disciple was also humane to the plain clothes just now. I know, the simple man, Li Ji said. This kid is the strength in the middle stage of the 4-star Do Emperors so rampant. To deal with 128 of us with the power of 5 people, isn't this a fool's dream? Link to now www.novelmtl.com. The things shouldn't be so simple. Li Ji quickly calculated in her heart. On the side, Mu Shuji looked at these people silently. He is very clear that the contribution of these 128 named disciples to their Fenxiang Pavilion in the past is enough for them to join the Fenxiang Pavilion, but there is still one hurdle in front of them, so go to these 5 people. If they defeat Xiao Yan and the other 5, then the cultivation resources given to Xiao Yan and the 5 will continue to be allocated to them, but at that time, many of these 128 disciples will become Xiao Yan's fellow disciples. But if these 128 people did not defeat Xiao Yan and the other 5, it also means that the talents of these 128 people are not enough to join the Fenxiang Pavilion. At that time, the Fenxiang Pavilion will not absorb these people. By the way, Brother Li, I heard that the first place in the points looting competition, relying on the strength of the 4-star Do D in the early stage. I don't know what method I used to kill the twin ghost emperors who were seriously injured. A named disciple also seemed to remember something. What's his name? When Li Ji heard the words, her pupils suddenly shrank tightly, and then she stared at Xiao Yan who was carrying a heavy black ruler in front of him, while roaring at the person beside him. It seems to be a man with a heavy black ruler. My name is Xiao Yan. The second update is here. Ask for tickets. 5 more today. Can I ask for a guaranteed monthly pass? Thank you. End of this chapter. Continuing from the previous episode 298. It can't be such a coincidence. After the man beside Li Ji finished speaking, he also looked at Xiao Yan intently. With a black weight on his back. The strength of the 4-star Do D in the early stage. Kill the twin ghost emperors. All these signs were manifested. The so-called Xiao Yan was the man in front of him. You. What's your name? Li Ji's slightly shocking voice also slowly said to Xiao Yan. If the seemingly thin man in front of him was Xiao Yan who killed the twin ghost emperors, Li Ji would have to pay attention. In order to obtain this Fenxiang Pavilion's named disciple, Li Ji killed a lot of ghosts, and even more so for the sake of the Fenxiang Pavilion, and everything he did was just to join the Fenxiang Pavilion. Li Ji will naturally cherish this great opportunity now, so even if Xiao Yan is not the Xiao Yan who really killed the twin ghost emperors, Li Ji will not take it lightly. Xiao Yan also lazily loosened his shoulders and said, Shabu. Li Ji heard the words, her pupils shrank tightly, and then a loud noise emanated from Li Ji's body. Brother Li. When the people around him saw this, they also said to Li Ji. I'm fine. Li Ji also regained her composure. Did you really kill the twin ghost emperors? Li Ji said in shock. These named disciples are the most aware of the power of ghosts in the ghost world. Because of the special geographical location of Fenxiang Pavilion, it is located at the entrance of a ghost realm, so Fenxiang Pavilion has also become the guardian of the entrance to this ghost realm. Every year, many ghosts pour into Xuanxin Santian from the entrance to the ghost realm. If the disciple has killed the ghosts to a certain level, then he can pass the qualification of the named disciple. Having obtained the qualifications of named disciples means that they are qualified to challenge the disciples who really joined the Fenxiang Pavilion. Once the challenge is successful, these named disciples will become sparrows and become phoenixes and become the real disciples of the Fenxiang Pavilion. Although the strength of the twin ghost emperors is not the top in the ghost world, it is definitely not the bottom. A person who is comparable to the recognition of the 8-star Do Emperor was killed by the middle stage 4-star Do Emperor in front of him. No matter where it is placed, no one can trust it. Xinya 81 Zhang Wian Wang Yu, Kai 8, approximately 1 ZS, Ko-M after all, with the power of an 8-star Do Emperor, even if he does not attack, and allows a 4-star Do Emperor to attack, I am afraid that the 4-star Do Emperor will not be able to kill the 8-star Do Emperor if he runs out of Do Qi. No wonder these named disciples were so surprised. If no one has the same name as me, I killed the twin ghost emperors. Xiao Yan also said plainly, but the firmness in his eyes was discovered by Li Ji. This kind of firmness can only appear when you have absolute confidence in your own strength. Could it be that this Xiao Yan, Brother Li, don't care whether this kid is the one who killed the twin ghost emperors or not, we are all going to defeat them today. As long as we defeat them, our past efforts will be enough. Become a real disciple of Burning Incense Pavilion. Some named disciples also said to Li Ji, "Haha, you're right, Brother Xiao Yan, I also admire you for killing the twin ghost emperors, but today, I don't know if you can show mercy and let us join this Burning Incense Pavilion." Li Ji also instantly regained her normal expression, and then slowly said to Xiao Yan, "After all, it doesn't matter whether this Xiao Yan is the Xiao Yan who killed the twin ghost emperors. Under the absolute suppression of strength, everything is fearless. With his strength in the early stage of the 5-star Do Emperor, it was not easy to deal with Xiao Yan in the middle stage of the 4-star Do Emperor. Then let me start." Li Ji also found out that the other two 5-star fighting emperors had no intention of taking action, and said, "Although the gun is the first bird, there is no doubt that this first one also has its own advantages." Once he defeated this Xiao Yan, then he was also qualified to join the Fenxiang Pavilion. Oh, did this kid actually kill Yin Xie? No wonder there is an aura that belongs to yin and evil. The old man above the hall also spoke slowly. "Which one of you will come first?" Li Ji also spoke slowly, and then took out his weapon, the halberd. Holding the halberd in one hand and carrying the other behind his back, the place where the halberd points is where the eyes of the named disciple go. "I'll come first," Xiao Yan also said to Mu Feng, who was beside him, then took a step forward, facing Li Ji's halberd. Many of the surrounding named disciples also stepped back very wisely, leaving enough battle circles for the two of them to fight. "Hee, this Li Ji really likes to be the first bird." Li Zi also said slowly, "Haha, let him try, the water is also very good." Zi Lian also said, "Li Ji, Li Zi, and Zi Lian are the three most outstanding of these 128 named disciples. 3 5-star fighting emperors. Xiao Yan, can he do it?" Mu Yingying also bit her lips slightly, and then her pure white fist couldn't help clenching a little. It seems that the relationship between Mu Yingying and Xiao Yan is not normal. Green Flute's eyes were naturally surprised when she noticed Mu Yingying's small gesture. After all, the two of them didn't know each other, and they had discovered something. As for Xiao Yan, since he is her Lady Queen's husband, Green Flute is also very concerned. In LVDI's opinion, this Xiao Yan can use the strength of the 4-star Do D in the early stage to kill the twin ghost emperors who are seriously injured. If it is LVDI himself, the odds of winning against Xiao Yan are probably less than 30%, or even lower. "Brother, why don't you let me go? The strength of this 5-star Do D in the early stage is really..." Xiao Yi said with some worry. "Don't worry, I'm free to take countermeasures." Xiao Yan also smiled slowly at Xiao Yi, and it could be seen that Xiao Yi was concerned about Xiao Yan, so she said, You reading www. You can chew. Come, Xiao Yan, you want to win. Let these named disciples know how powerful we are in the first place in the points-grabbing competition." Mu Feng also laughed. After hearing Mu Feng's words, the surrounding registered disciples also had their eyelids twitching violently. Obviously, if this Xiao Yan was really that Xiao Yan, then their brother Li would have no chance of winning. Hee, this time brother Li has come out, and Xiao Yan has not even mentioned that he was defeated. Just kidding. Don't you know our brother Li's strength? The strength of the 5-star fighting emperor in the early stage is to be able to kill ghosts that are comparable to the middle stage of the human 5-star fighting emperor. Ghosts are more powerful than humans. There were also intermittent words around. Xiao Yan, I'm giving you a chance, admit defeat. 4-star Do Emperor and 5-star Do Emperor are not at the same level after all. Lest you suffer some flesh and blood and lose the face of the disciples of Fenxiang Pavilion, then we will make us named disciples laugh out loud. Li Ji also sneered. Really? Then it seems that no one has taught you to tell the difference between the named disciples and the real disciples of our burning incense pavilion. Then let me teach you to tell the difference. After Xiao Yan finished speaking, he also laughed, and his smile was full of confidence. The third shift is here. Ask for tickets. 5 more today. Can I ask for a guaranteed monthly pass? Thank you. End of this chapter. Continuing from the previous episode 299. Humph. Stubborn. Li Ji also snorted coldly and looked at Xiao Yan in front of him. I don't know why, even with Li Ji's strength in the early days of the 5-star Do Di, looking at the man with a heavy ruler in front of him, he would feel a sense of fear in his heart. I'm fighting with people, and I don't like being slow. Since I'm a man, I'll fight to the end. Li Ji also said, and it can be seen that Li Ji is not a soft-hearted person. It's exactly what I want. Xiao Yan also showed a strange smile at the corner of his mouth, and then looked at Li Ji. At this time, in the hall, the 4 Mu Yingying also retreated, and the other registered disciples also retreated to the edge of the hall, leaving enough space for the 2 of them to fight. Brother Xiao Yan, be careful, I'm going to attack. After Li Ji finished speaking, she didn't wait for Xiao Yan to respond. Her figure was like a ghost, and instantly attacked where Xiao Yan was. Holding the halberd in his right hand, he moved quickly, and as expected, the momentum of the 5-star Do Emperor's initial stage was fully displayed. This Li Ji's halberd seems a little weird. When Xiao Yan was fighting, he spread the huge soul power in this hall, so Li Ji's every move could not escape Xiao Yan's perception. Li Ji is more dangerous. After all, although Li Ji is a strong man in the early stage of the 5-star Do Di, his soul power is too weak, so he didn't take it seriously, and more importantly, he didn't find that it had already spread all over the hall. Soul power. Long before the battle started, Li Ji's keen intuition was that there seemed to be some other powers in the hall, but Li Ji's soul power was quite limited, so he couldn't find it. In the face of Li Ji's attack, Xiao Yan did not dare to hesitate. After all, this Li Ji was also a genuine 5-star Do Emperor early-stage powerhouse. At the same time, Xiao Yan also moved. First, the aura of the whole body soared, and the strength was raised to the extreme, the strength of the middle stage of the 4-star fighting emperor. Immediately, he was enveloped in milky white flames, and then he instantly took off the eternal fire eternal ruler behind him. Just after taking off the ancient ruler of different fire, a deafening dragon roar echoed in the hall. Oh, this ruler is not simple, and there is a ruler spirit. This kid named Xiao Yan is really surprising. The old man above the hall said to himself slightly, and then his eyes were also slightly watching the battle in the hall. I also want to see whether the first place who killed the twin ghost emperors is as terrifying as rumored, so that resources can be allocated in the future. Xiao Yan, if you can't defeat Li Ji in the early stage of the 5-star Do Di, then your first place will have a lot of water, and it is impossible to say that the allocation of your cultivation resources will also be reduced in the future. Since my Fenxiang Pavilion has cultivated disciples, it will only cultivate geniuses who are amazing and look up to, not ordinary people. This is also the reason why my Fenxiang Pavilion has the smallest number of disciples among the 9 super sects. But even if it is the least, the overall strength of our Fenxiang Pavilion is enough to rank in the top 3 of these 9 super sects. Mu Shuji also spoke slowly. With Xiao Yan's huge soul power, he naturally knew what Mu Shuji said, but it was strange to say that. Xiao Yan always felt that Mu Shuji said it to him on purpose. At this time, in the battle circle in the main hall, the 2 are quite close, and the battle is about to start. Xiao Yan is surrounded by a fire dragon on the ancient ruler of Yuo Heng, and that is Long Yi. Long Yi has been warming up in the ancient ruler of Yuo Heng these days, and his strength has recovered a lot, but he was warned by the Golden Dragon King. He didn't give Xiao Yan much help. After all, Xiao Yan still had to walk a lot. However, since this Long Yi became the ruler of the Yuo Heng ancient ruler, Xiao Yan is using the Yuo Heng ancient ruler, and his power is undoubtedly much stronger than before. Shabu! Yi Huo Heng Ji Yu Kai and the halberd mercilessly merged together. Li Ji and Xiao Yan simultaneously mobilized all the fighting qi into their weapons. The reason why the two didn't use a powerful attack in the first place was because they were testing each other. After all, they could easily win by exerting their mighty power after they had figured out the details of each other. After all, the two are not enemies of life and death, and there is no need to use the means of killing each other as soon as they meet. Otherwise, if you use the power of thunder from the very beginning and waste your grudge, it is easy for the opponent to detect the flaws. Haha, brother Xiao Yan is really extraordinary. The strength of the 4-star Do Emperor in the middle stage is comparable to mine. This really makes me ashamed. Li Ji also held the halberd tightly with both hands, and his body was full of fighting spirit. Injecting it into the halberd burst into a dazzling silver light, trying to resist Xiao Yan's attack, but on its forehead, many beads of sweat also appeared, obviously dealing with Xiao Yan's seemingly simple strange fire. The ruler is quite laborious. On the other hand, Xiao Yan on the other side also showed a relaxed feeling. He held the ancient ruler of eternal fire with both hands, and then his pupils stared at Li Ji in front of him, and there were some smiles in the corners of his mouth. If it wasn't for these people being the registered disciples of the Fenxiang Pavilion, Xiao Yan at this time was using a Wangchen Heavenly Fury soul attack, and at the moment when Li Ji was stagnant, he was using the power of a thunder attack. Then this Li Ji's end would be extremely bleak. Xinya 81 Zhang Wei and Wang Wu. Kai 8.1 ZS. Koem. It's just that Xiao Yan didn't do that. After all, Li Ji also made a lot of contributions to Burning Incense Pavilion. Brother Li doesn't seem to be able to hold on anymore? Xiao Yan also joked while watching Li Ji, who had retreated from the enchantment. HMPH. Nonsense. Li Ji was also furious when she heard the words, and then the fighting qi in her body also increased to the extreme, and then she snorted coldly. However, I was extremely surprised that such a small act of mine was discovered by this kid. The halberd erupted with a monstrous aura, and then forcibly retreated Xiao Yan's ancient ruler of strange fire. However, Xiao Yan did not suffer any damage. After Li Ji retreated, he took a few steps back to stabilize his body. At this time, his body was rolling violently. In addition to fighting spirit, the more important thing is mentality. Li Ji is also a strong player in the early stage of the 5-star Do Emperor. How could it be so difficult to deal with a hair-headed boy in the middle stage of the 4-star Do Emperor? It seemed like a simple collision just now, but Li Ji knew in his heart that Xiao Yan, who seemed to have only the mid-stage strength of the 4-star Do D, would definitely not be as simple as the surface. Maybe it was Xiao Yan who killed the twin ghost emperors. At this time, Li Ji already had the desire to retreat. Link to DAMN www.novelmtl.com. I really don't believe in this evil. Li Ji also said slowly, and then temporarily suppressed the fear in his heart. Come again. After speaking, he also activated his fighting qi, attached to the halberd in his hand, and then attacked Xiao Yan Zaidu. Bang bang bang. The halberd emitting silver light and the strange fire eternal ancient ruler surrounded by milky white flame energy and an illusory fiery red dragon viciously intersected together. This time, Xiao Yan was not giving Li Ji a chance to breathe. The huge soul force communicated with Long Yi, as if they were discussing something. The next moment, a strange scene appeared. I saw that the ancient ruler of Yuo Heng and the war halberd collided at this time, but the fiery red dragon above the ancient ruler of Yuo Heng forcibly overflowed from the ancient ruler of Yuo Heng, and moved towards Li Ji's hand. Go with the halberd, damn bastard. Seeing this, Li Ji cursed loudly, because Li Ji discovered at this time that the fiery red dragon creature had a rather powerful aura. Besides that, what surprised Li Ji even more was that when the fiery red dragon on the ancient ruler of the different fire came to the battle halberd in his hand, the huge silver ray of fighting energy above the halberd was instantly swallowed by the fiery red dragon without a drop. At the same time, Li Ji's face became extremely ugly. 4 shifts are here. Ask for tickets. Ask for a reward. Ask for a recommendation ticket. Ask for a monthly pass. Those who have money will support the money field, and those who have no money will support the ticket field. All of you, crab, support. End of this chapter.